You know that feeling, right? You're completely overwhelmed. You open up an AI. You just dump everything in a prompt.
Huh.
And you get back this amazing clarifying response. And you feel fixed. You think, okay, this is it. I'm going to do this every single morning.
And then you don't.
And then you look at your history and realize you haven't touched the app in 3 weeks.
Yeah, we call that the vent and vanish cycle. It happens because we've all been sort of trained to treat these tools like a search engine. You get your answer, you close the tab.
Right, move on.
But real journaling isn't a transaction. It's a practice. And most of us, I think, are stuck at what we could call layer one.
Layer one being just the conversation.
Yeah.
And look, don't get me wrong, it feels good. The AI asks some follow-up questions. Maybe it points out a blind spot I had.
Yeah.
But why isn't that enough? I mean, if I feel better in that moment, isn't the job done?
For that one moment, sure. But the whole setup is, well, it's flawed because it has no memory. Without layer two, which is continuity, every single session is just an isolated island.
So you could be having the same problem over and over.
Exactly. You might be having the exact same realization about your work-life balance every Tuesday, but because the AI starts fresh, it treats it like some brand new revelation every time.
So it's basically Groundhog Day therapy. I'm just spinning my wheels thinking I'm making all this progress.
I think it's actually worse than spinning your wheels because you're losing the data. The real superpower of an AI isn't, empathy, it's pattern recognition.
Yeah.
If you have continuity, the system can say something like, hey, I noticed you use the word trapped specifically on Sunday nights right before the work week.
No, that's useful. But, okay, noticing patterns means I actually have to show up and do it consistently. And that's where I fail.
And that brings us to layer three, the system. This is where most generic tools, like your ChatGPTs or Claudes, they just fall flat. They have what I'd call the passive tool problem.
They're just sitting there.
They're just sitting there, blinking a cursor, waiting for you to have the willpower to get started.
And when I'm stressed, willpower is the first thing out the window. I'm not going to open a blank page. I'm going to open Instagram.
Of course. The cognitive load is real. A proper system needs some kind of outreach. It needs triggers to prompt you instead of waiting for you to do all the work.
Okay, but let's be realistic. Most of us are just using these generic tools. So if I'm stuck with one of them, how do I build a system that remembers me without it becoming like a full-time job?
There is a workaround. I'll admit it requires a little bit of manual friction. You have to create something called a context document.
I gotta be honest, the idea of keeping a separate document and copy-pasting stuff every time I want to vent, it just sounds like a nightmare. Is it really worth it?
It is clunky, I get it. But until these models have perfect, automatic long-term memory, it's the only real way to bridge that gap. And it doesn't have to be a whole novel.
Okay.
Just think of it as a quick